Hello code artists, welcome to lesson 3.4 of our introductory programming logic with JavaScript course. All we're going to do in this lesson is show you how to take customer requirements where they come to you and ask you to write software, or a story problem out of the chapter in the book where they ask you to write a program that does this, X, Y, and Z. I'm going to show you how to take all that verbiage and turn it into actionable code. I'm also going to show you how to create a template with IntelliJ. It's quite easy. And then we're going to, at the very end of this, make sure we generate our JS documentation, HTML, and then we're going to integrate it with Git and get it pushed up to GitHub. So without further ado, let's begin. So originally when I had some videos here, I'd have you start with create new project, which we're still going to do, but I would have you choose static web, and over here I would have you choose static web. But you'll notice that I've got this user defined category over here, and in there is a template that I've created called code template. To create a template in IntelliJ is trivial. All you do is you create a new empty static web project. You make sure you've got your .gitignore file in there, your .eslint.rc file in there, and a very bare bones JavaScript file. You get all that all set up the way that you want it, and then in IntelliJ you go up to the Tools menu option and you choose Save Project as Template, and you're all set. So I'll demonstrate that here in just a second. So I'm going to do user define, my code template, choose next. I'm going to call this code 3.4, and it is going in the direction or the directory that I want it to go. If not, I can choose my file picker there, or I can type in the path name. I'm going to choose finish. Doesn't exist. Please create it. You'll notice when it pops up, I've already got a JavaScript file in here, and if I pull this down, I've got my eslint.rc and my .gitignore. Alright, so if this was my stuff that I just created that I want it to be my template, as I said earlier, you can just simply go to Tools and do Save Project as Template. It'll ask you to put a description in, and then it will appear on that user defined list for you. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do here is copy and paste in the story problem here. So we need to plan the logic for a program for the sales manager of the Henry used car dealership. The program will determine the salesperson commission on any car sold. Input includes the salesperson's name and the sale price. The output is the commission, which is 5% of the sale price. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is figure out what the variables are in here. Are there any constants? And then the code just kind of writes itself. So I'm going to say that commission is going to be a variable because that's going to change each time. The salesperson's name is going to be a variable, and the sale price is going to be a variable. And a constant is right here is the commission rate, which is 5%. So what does that look like when I code this out? Well, let's take a look. I'm just going to copy and paste from the code that I have off screen. We'll start with my numeric variables. Control C, Control V. Notice I've declared multiple variables in the same line, separated by comma space. I like to put a space there for sanity's sake. And I declared them, and remember in JavaScript, declare and initialization is the same thing, and assignment is what we use the methods down in section 4 for, to assign it value, kind of with this operator right here. So my two numeric variables are purchase price and commission. And notice that they've got gray squigglies, so does this. That's just saying that I haven't used them yet, and they'll all turn yellow later on as I start to use them. Alright, on my next line, and purchase price and commission were both pulled out of here. Let's see, so that's the purchase price right there, and the commission was the one right here where I'm figuring out what his or her total commission is. Next line, I'm going to put my string variable, because it's variable, because it could be a different salesperson each time. So that's how I like to do it with my students in my class. You put all of your variables that you can on one line of one data type. Then you put variables of different data types on different lines. And since in this class we're only dealing with numeric and string, it makes it really easy. Alright, finally, up in section 1 there, since this is going to be global for this, I want to go ahead and put in my constant. And again, constants are all caps, and the different words are separated by an underscore, which is hard to see because of the squiggles, but the commission rate was 5%. Okay, so we've got our section 1, we've got our section 2, and we've got a partial fill-in of section 3. Remember, this stuff right here is just the JS doc that'll generate the HTML web page for us, documentation web page. So what we need to do now is for every global variable that we have up in section 2 up there, we typically 99% of the time want to have a mutator method for that down in section 4. So we'll start with the mutator method for set purchase price. Control C, Control V, and here I have set purchase price. And again, remember, the name of the variable has nothing whatsoever to do with the variable. I do that so that it's human readable. This and this is how it's related right there. So this mutator method is, I'm essentially going to ask them the question. I'm going to make sure that it gets stored as a number. That's what this means right here. So I'm taking their answer, I'm wrapping it in number, and then I'm assigning it using this equal sign right here into this variable called purchase price. And let's do the next one, which is commission. Control C, Control V. This one's even easier. This is simply saying that commission is going to be, or assign the value of, purchase price times the commission rate. Next one down, we have, I'm going to copy and paste. Next one down, I have set salesperson's name. This is simply where I'm taking the value that they answer right here and hit enter, and it's going to get jammed in right there. And for the example, I'm going to use Billy so you can see how it works. Okay, so those are my 3 mutator methods that I have right there to mutate these 3 variables. The last thing I want to have is a utility method that outputs the results to the screen so the sales manager can see what's going on, and I called that print commission. So I'm going to Control C, Control V, and for print commission, all I have it do is console log. Remember, that's basically the print statement right there. I also actually want to do a \n there, and if you remember, that adds a new line, so it's going to do a new line and then print the results out. And I'm doing it inside of what are called JavaScript's template literals, so it interpolates the variables inside of this $, curly brace, end curly brace. I put the variable in there, and it's going to put the value in the output string to the screen. It's going to put whatever values in here. So if I did Billy up here and I did the sale price was $24,000 or whatever, it's going to put Billy here, and then the commission calculates out to something like $1,200. It's going to put that right here, $1,200. All right. And so now we've got all of our methods filled in. The last thing that we have to do is come back up in here to section 3, and we're going to put in all the method calls to run the methods in section 4 in the order that we want. So I'm going to do Control V, and there are all the methods. You'll note that everything just turned yellow because now they're all being used. So the first method I'm calling is the salesperson's name. Notice it's the 3rd method down here, but up here it's the 1st method I'm calling. And so that speaks volumes to, it doesn't matter what order you put things in up here, and it doesn't matter what order you put things in down here. The actual order is determined by the dispatch method in the order that you call them. So I'm doing salesperson's name, set purchase price, commission, and then lastly I print the commission. So this isn't quite finished yet, because if you note, I need to have the readline sync library installed. So I'm going to fire up the terminal, clear my screen. I'm going to do npm install readline-sync and let the Node package manager go through and install everything. And there's my Node modules directory that now has it. I'm going to clear the screen again, and I'm going to see how this code works. Node and this is called code.js. Salesperson's name is Billy. Sold the car for $24,000, and there we go. And the new line that I added to right here allowed this to get printed so it's not right up next to that line right there. Okay, so we took the story problem, we turned it into code very simply, and now all we have to do is generate our Java comment or HTML files and then get it into GitHub. So js.code.js, hit enter. You'll see if I hit refresh here, it creates my out file for me, which is exactly what I want because it's going to have this file right here. And if I fire it up in my web browser, gotta see which window it's going to appear in here. It's behind here. Bring it over. There's all of my JS documentation, so that worked perfectly. So now let's get this pushed up or integrated with Git. So we're going to come to VCS, import into version control, create a Git repository. I want it to be code 3.4. I click OK, and everything turned red like it should have. I'm going to right click here. I'm going to do Git, click on the green add plus for add, and should all turn green. Then I'm going to come to VCS, import into version control, share the project on GitHub. Lesson, whoops, should be 3.4, not 34 period. 3.4 code, click share. I get this standard window. I definitely want it to say initial commit. I click OK, and you see the magic happening down there, and successfully shared the project on GitHub. So that's how each of your projects should go for you as we go through the course. That's pretty much the process that we do. Obviously the stuff inside of here is going to get a little more complicated, but that's the gist of it. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.